Hey guys, Troy Dooley, the Beachside CEO. Let me ask you a question. How do you know when to start building your net worth no matter what season of life you're in? Now, some of you may say, well, Troy, we've already started. Great. But a lot of you watching this probably haven't started building wealth. You might have some money in the bank left over from the stimulus. You might have invested in a few things, but are you truly building wealth? Because it's not just about investing in stocks or bonds or real estate. It's about looking at a strategy where you can keep more than you've got to either use to live on or pay in taxes. That's the key. And that's what I want to look at. It's just today, we're going to do a 3-part series on this, but today I want to look at where do you put your money? I want to thank Cafe 180 for letting me hang out in here. They just shut down and we turned the music down so I could do this because I did a video not too long ago in the podcast and we got flagged because of copyright infringement because of the background music. So I want to thank them right off the bat. But here's what I want to look at. When you go back to the 1920s, the best investment historically has been stocks, equities, the GEs of the world, the Fords of the world, the P&Gs, Procter & Gamble, Harley Davidson, these big giant companies that as we see them today have provided the best returns. Then you've got real estate. Now the real estate is a little bit funky. Peter Earle, who's an economist over at the American Institute of Economic Research, said real estate is only given over that time period a 4% return. Now, I had to look at that and I thought, okay, if you go back to the 1920s, we had the Dust Bowl, we had the Great Depression, we had stuff like that, so I could see that happening. But when you go forward, you start to realize that in current times, real estate has been very, very good. But then when I dug into his report, I realized he wasn't talking about the income produced off of real estate. So depending on where you live, you may be able to get 1 or 2 or 3 homes, be able to refurbish them if they're not ready to rent, and then rent them out, and you actually can produce some really good income. If you can get into multifamily, where you've got a 4-plex or a small apartment complex, it's even better. Some of the new modern things that we're seeing is people buy 2 or 3 acres and they put either manufactured homes or they put mini homes on them, and you can get some really good revenue off of them. Now, you probably have heard a term, this is a term that I don't believe in, called passive income. I honestly don't believe there's anything passive about any income that you make. When my wife, who most of you guys that follow me know, best-selling romance writer, she's got close to, I think, 30 books, 4 bestsellers, royalties that come in off those books. They are great. But if she doesn't keep writing, if the books don't keep selling, if when she gets the copyrights back, we don't update those and put them out on Amazon or one of the other book buying places, then her income dries up. Well, the same thing runs true in investments. So if you think, oh, I can just throw my money to a broker and they'll take care of me, or I can go buy a universal life policy and it's going to pay me back. All of that is true to a certain degree. But if you're not paying attention to it, how are you going to know if that investment or that insurance policy is actually worth what you thought it was? How are you going to know because you're not paying attention? How do you know that the mutual fund hasn't been upside down for 5 years and now you don't have anything coming in off of it? You have to pay attention. You can build great residual income, but if you just passively let somebody else handle it, that's like letting somebody else passively take care of the relationship that you're in. Somebody else is going to come in and actively work it, and then you're going to turn around and wonder, where'd my spouse or significant other go? Same thing as in your investments, so you don't want to do that. So what do you do to build significant wealth? Let's look at some of the stuff that you should be doing, and then we'll go up from there in some of the other videos. A, you should have an emergency fund where you've got liquidity. You've got cash in a savings account, a money market account that's going to earn you somewhere from, well, right now, 3 to 5%. And 2 years ago, you might get 1% off of it. Right now, though, you can make 3 to 5%, and that's pretty good. So get some money in there. You want 9? Well, depending on who you talk to. You want 6 to 9 months. Personally, I'd try to go for a year. Okay, if you have a year in an emergency fund, and it's going to take you a while to build that up, I get it. But if you have it there and something goes wrong, you're covered. Once you've got that taken care of, I'd start looking at putting an MSA, a medical savings account together to take care of some of the small medical issues that you have. If you've got one of your children who is focused on a law degree, they're focused on a medical degree, they want to be a CPA, anything of that nature, then yes, you need to be preparing for that. So you've got to look at, hey, do we need to save money for college? Do I need to go look at what grants are available? If your child doesn't need to go to college, at least in the first couple of years when they get out of high school, or if they're homeschooled, then look at trade schools. Look at some stuff they could do. I had one of my daughters the other day said, Dad, I really don't want to go to college. I think what I want to do is be a hairdresser. Great, let's go find a cosmetology school. Let's get you ready to go. Let's find out what it takes. Let's get you going. That's the key to being able to help move in those directions. Now, what's the next step? Well, now you need to look at your investment portfolio. And we're going to cover this in detail in some other areas, but what you need to look at is a balanced approach. If you're younger, then you can definitely be in more of a high risk situation. If you say, look, I want to learn about these trendy new investments in Forex trading, where you're trading currencies, or in the crypto space where I'm getting into either a blockchain stock, or I'm starting to purchase coins or tokens, that's fine. It still needs to be balanced. Okay, you need to look at based on where you're at. And the only way you're going to know is to educate yourself, and preferably get with your banker or go get a broker that can help you in these areas. I've got some local brokers down here that are phenomenal. They are not into crypto. Their companies don't offer it. So when they have questions, they come to me because they know I've got a pretty good knowledge of how the crypto space works, which exchanges are worth getting into so they don't end up like we saw with FTX. But companies that are well in compliance inside the United States and doing well. These are what we do. Well, I do this with my clients, my corporate clients and my individual clients. We're doing it here in some videos to help you get started so that you can find what's best for you. If you're a little bit apprehensive, I mean, I know the FUD is running rampant right now, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, then go open up an online trading account. You can do this with E-Trade as an example. Get in there. I use E-Trade. Let me disclose that. That's why I love these guys. But you can get in there with E-Trade. Get yourself set up. They're going to ask you a series of questions. And then they're going to say, this is what we will allow you to do. But then they have a knowledge base for every type of investment there is, where then you can start educating yourself. Then you can apply to do options, or you can apply to do Forex. You can do all kinds of things. They might even give you a margin account once they see that you know what you're doing, and you go from there. These are the keys. But the only way to do this is to get started today. Look at where you're at before you start investing long term, outside of if you're working in with a 401k or you're with a union and you got retirement. If you're going to do anything, you have to start with the emergency account. You need liquidity in order to know that if something does happen, you're covered. Now, in the next couple of videos, we're going to talk about inflation. We're going to talk about what's the new year bringing to help you out, because our goal is to help Middle America, to help that Main Street entrepreneur, that small business person, and the Middle America consumer. That's the key. That's what I'm looking at. I'm going to be helping you guys as we move this thing forward. So, hey, thanks for hanging out with me. Remember, it's forever forward. You can't go back and change what you did yesterday, but you can sure look forward and make sure you don't do it again. We'll see you next time.